Hey guys, what's going on? It is Friday, July 3rd, and I am in the process of working on two videos right now, which I don't normally do, so hopefully I don't confuse anything. Show you photographs of something that I'm not talking about because it's supposed to be in the other video. But I want to start out by telling you what I'm doing in the studio today. Earlier in the week, I came up with the idea of taking a few of the images that I sell on stock that sell fairly regularly and just putting a little bit of a spin to them. I put them in the clouds. I don't know if you remember my video a while back where I did the shoe, the running shoe, in the clouds. Well, I took that same cloud image and stuck a couple of images in there that typically are just on white. I think they were all just on white, and they sell on a regular basis, so I thought I'm going to put them in the clouds and see how they do like that. But one of the images that I thought would look good in the clouds was this image. It's a shot I did of an Edison bulb on black years ago. It sells as well, but because it was on a black background, I was not able to blend it into the sky background with the clouds very easily, so I need to reshoot that light bulb. And that's what I'm doing in the studio today. So I want to show you how I'm going to go about doing that, blend those two images together, and hopefully come up with another really good shot that will sell on the stock agencies. So let me show you my little setup.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
Let me show you what I've got going as far as the light bulb is concerned at first. I have got, let me move these pieces of paper here and show you. What I've got is the light bulb screwed into a socket that's running to a cord with electricity. The clamp holds it in place because we definitely want this light bulb to be lit up. But I am putting pieces of paper, white paper, over the cord and over that clamp so that any reflections that bounce up into the glass, which trust me, there will be reflections coming into that glass. I don't want it to be an orange clamp, obviously. Okay, and then I've got a softbox on both sides. So here's the camera. I got a softbox evenly lighting up the background, the white background, and the reflections that are just coming off that background and off the softboxes make nice reflections on the side of the light bulb. Okay, so let me take a quick shot here. I am at f16. I've already done a test shot, so I know this is going to look fairly decent. I'm at f16. And there's the initial image. Looks pretty clean. Now, because I want it to look like it's floating and not plugged into anything, I'm gonna have to do two exposures, one like I just did, and then unscrew it from the socket and photograph it again to show, you know, the screw-in part of it, the bottom part of it, and then I'll just cut that out and put the two together in Photoshop. The other thing we have to do is get the filament to be lit up, and here's my little trick for that. There's my light bulb, and it runs over to this box, which my father-in-law made years and years ago. And it's plugged into there, and what I can do is turn it on, light comes on, and I can actually control how bright the filament is. And the nice thing about controlling that is my shutter speed is going to control that ambient light. The aperture is going to control what the strobes are doing, but my shutter speed is going to control what that filament is doing. One question that you might have is if I slow the shutter speed down enough to pick up that filament so that it's glowing, what about all the ambient light in the room? Is that going to affect the overall exposure? Well, let me show you this. Okay, so right now the camera's set at 1/25th of a second, f16. Strobes are not connected to the camera anymore. I take a photograph, and the ambient light in the room alone gives me just a blank screen. So I've got a lot of leeway as far as allowing those filament to be lit up without affecting the overall shot. So I'm gonna turn this on, and I'm gonna put it about halfway. And I'm gonna leave the exposure at 1/25th of a second, f16. That's not too bad. Let's do one more and turn it up. I like leaving the shutter speed at 1/25th of a second. That way I know I'm not getting any ambient light from the room. There's what I just did. Not a huge difference from where we were before. Okay, there it is without the filament going, with, and with a little brighter. I'm gonna put it in the computer and see how it looks there. Okay guys, so here's the shot without the filament going, just the strobes. Here's the image I did with no strobes, no filament, ambient light in the room only. And if you notice, there's not enough light to make any image whatsoever. And then here's the filament on with that dimmer set at about half power. And then I turned it up to almost full power, and there's really not very much difference in that filament, if you notice. So I think I'm happy with this, but I'm going to experiment a little bit with my shutter speed to see if I can get that glow in the filament to be just a little bit brighter and a little more distinct. I think once I put it on a blue background with the clouds and stuff, it might jump out a little bit more. But being on a light background, it doesn't like jump off there, and I want it to do that just a little bit more. So I'm going to go play with the shutter speed a little bit, dial this in and get it perfect, and then we'll work on the bottom half of the light bulb. I've got that first image. I like it. I ended up at a 30th of a second, f16. That got the filament glowing a little bit better. Still at a 30th of a second, I wasn't getting any ambient light from the room to contaminate the overall image, so we were good there. Now I've got to shoot the bottom half of the light bulb so that it looks like it's floating in midair. That should be fairly simple. I just need to unscrew it, somehow get this thing to sit there properly, just make sure that the reflections on everything looks great on the bottom, and then we will do the Photoshop blending. So let's get that bottom half first. All right, so I've shot the bottom half of the light bulb. That was fairly easy. I went back to 125th of a second because the ambient light didn't mean anything. So left it at f16, shot that bottom half, brought the two images into Photoshop, and what I did was I cut out I cut them both out actually. I cut the glass out from the top half of the light bulb. I cut the screw-in part of the bottom half, pieced those two things together, made one image on a transparent background, and then brought the whole thing into the cloud image. Once I brought it into the cloud image, what I ended up having to do was change the blending mode until I got one that I really liked. Multiply seemed to be the best one. However, what I ended up losing was the filament glow. And when that filament glow is on a lighter background, it's really hard to get that to pop off. So I had to do some smoke and mirrors and do multiple layers to hold that filament so that it still glowed, because I think without it glowing, it just loses a little bit. It's that little extra, it's that 10% that takes it over the top, where 90% maybe is good enough, but you know, we want that extra 10 to make it look good. So I think the final image looks really nice, kind of artsy, kind of fun. Will it sell? That is yet to be seen, but hopefully it will. The light bulb on the black background sells on a regular basis, so hopefully this will sell as well. I think there's a lot of applications that different buyers could use it for. I am excited to see what it does, but as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I've been getting a lot more comments lately, and I appreciate that. It's nice to hear from people all over the world. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Thumbs up, maybe a thumbs down, whatever you think. If you put a thumbs down, tell me why. I'd like to know. You guys have a good 4th of July, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.